Y'all ain't gonna keep making me feel bad, all right?
What?
I had my goddamn face.
Like this.
Y'all leave me the fuck alone.
I didn't say nothing. I wasn't pointing no fingers. Notice, I was looking away.
Animators cannot be topped. Animators do some crazy shit. It's like crazy good shit. Mm-hmm. Comic artists too. Like Flork of Cows. Like if y'all you know Flork of Cows, you know the sock puppets, like the one of the ass mage that I wanted to be years ago. Flork of Cows. Like if you go by just the Flork of Cows comics, you would think like he's like super basic artist. Dude has phenomenal art. And all of them do for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But yeah, fucking love that animation. And we love you guys. Welcome back to Kingz After Dark podcast. This is episode 3, actually. We're still doing it. Still doing it.
We're here.
How are you guys?
I have an announcement. I'm leaving the podcast.
After the 3rd episode. All right.
No. Before the 3rd episode, technically.
True.
He had some life events come up. He had to reevaluate, realized he was bigger than this, bigger than us. Moving on to greener pastures.
We got my own journey like Harry Styles.
Yep. After the extreme success of the 0 episodes we've released so far, Fluff realized that he could be doing so much better with his life. And so we wish you well on your journey.
Well, actually, really what it is I've realized the potential that Gizmo has, and I've decided to support him in his career.
Oh yeah, Gizmo, you gonna make it big time?
Yeah. Do I get food?
If you make it big time, you eat sushi every day.
That sounds like a recipe for a shitty dog.
Literally.
Yeah. So anyway, episode 3.
Episode 3.
We are back.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
You know what? I'm just kind of sitting here a little, like, shit. We actually doing this for real. Like I'm so used to like 1-2 weeks of doing something and then
phasing out.
Yeah. I'm like, no, we actually here doing it. We still figuring stuff out, having fun with that. Y'all won't know this by the time the first episodes come out because obviously it'll already be in place. But we're currently working on our splash art, and Formz here has like come up with some really fucking dope concepts, and we're kind of like working out the details on that, what we actually want it to be, as well as like either because right now he's like, you're super busy with shit. Like life is outrageously busy.
Life is lifing right now.
Life is lifing.
It's always lifing.
Life is always lifing, and so we're looking at an artist to like kind of bring it to a full vision type deal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you guys will see the final product when the first episode drops. Obviously this will come out like 3 weeks after that, but yeah, we're currently working on that and kind of like, yeah, just learning like the editing process. Kind of shocked how much editing there is to podcasts, like especially if you're doing a video format. This would have been so much easier if I just stuck to audio. Mm-hmm. But we're not doing that because we love you guys and we want to give you guys the best. And honestly, video podcasts just feel so much more like special. Like you kind of feels more like a sitting down and just talking type deal.
And it feels more like us too. I don't know. We've done projects in the past where we've, done video stuff. We've done some audio stuff, but I don't know. I think knowing that we have a visual that we're giving to our audience and people who are listening and watching, I don't know. I think it helps us be on our best.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say behavior because we're never on our best behavior.
No,
but
there's no such thing as
about
best
to call
behavior.
bullshit on you. I was gonna be like,
yeah. Nah, it helps us be the best that we can be for you guys. And take that how you may. That could be the worst version of ourselves or the best version of ourselves.
The best, worst version of ourselves. That's fine.
The best.
There it is.
There we go. There it is. So this was from r/Ask Reddit. The question is, what's the biggest green flag that could be misinterpreted as a red flag? And I was scrolling through, and there's actually some really interesting answers, but there's kind of one. Actually, yeah, let's read. I'll read a few of those first. Or do you think you got one? You think one you can think of, both of you?
All I got's red flags. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I'm just going through my Rolodex here.
Rolodex of all your red flags.
And now I'm trying to think of the things that I do like and look for, and I'm like, but those are I'm trying to look at those from a different perspective. I'm doing some geometry right now, and so I either need a starting point or some silence.
I'm in the same headspace.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let me read off some of the top ones I saw earlier. No, that's not it. Where'd they go? So, this was a good one. So, commenter said, one I only discovered recently. When a person going through some difficult stuff is less friendly and cheerful around you than they are around other people, it can make you feel defensive. You might think it means they're upset with you, but sometimes it can mean this person feels safe expressing their more vulnerable emotions around you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, that was a really good one, because it's like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, it's you have to understand, and this even goes beyond like romantic relationships. This is like parent-child relationships of like there's a question like, why does it seem like kids only really like they'll be angels in public, but then they'll cut up at home? Mm-hmm. That's because that's their place to feel, like properly feel. Mm-hmm. That's the place that they let down that mask, and now they're feeling like actual, real, true, raw, vulnerable emotion. Mm-hmm. They're cutting up. If someone is kind of showing their ugliness around you, and the important part is to understand there's a difference between showing it around you and showing it at you or showing it to you type deal. Mm-hmm. If someone's showing that ugliness around you, it's probably because they feel safe with you. They feel like you are someone they can be vulnerable with. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a really good one. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's nice to know that somebody doesn't have to have their mask up around you. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what?
He's like, are you talking to me?
I'm petting you.
I have to have my mask up around you.
No, you don't. Sorry.
But
been distracted.
I noticed. But like a lot of these were like a lot of them were like a person being too nice. That was a pretty common.
The biggest green flag?
The biggest green flag that can be misinterpreted as a red
flag.
That could be misinterpreted as a red flag.
Yeah, well, it's always so freaking hard to
tell if someone's being genuinely nice or just being manipulative.
Right. Genuinely nice, manipulative, or if they're being like too nice.
Right.
Because I'll be straight with you. There are some people out there that are lovely people, right? That like they deserve all the love in the world, but they might give too much of themselves in order to like earn or like stay relevant to like somebody. And most of the time, I personally am not going to fuck with that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Just because, like, that's a lot of insecurity, and that's... I only got so much in me. I got lots of love to give, but I don't know. I don't know if I would want to put myself in a position where I'm with somebody who constantly has to feel like they're earning my affection, right? Because that's just
understandable. That's a whole topic in and of itself.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know that at least recently I've dealt with, where one party wants to make sure that the other party just feels like really comfortable and safe around them and just in their general space.
Right.
That, they'll do everything they can, make sure that they have, their favorite stuff stocked or ready to go, and checking in with that person a lot because they know that maybe the other party is going through a lot.
Right. But
then it's that one receiving party of all of that's like, I don't know, this is maybe a little weird. Too much, annoying, a little weird.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, that party that's trying to make you feel comfortable, safe, happy, genuinely is just trying to make you feel, good and feel, like accepted.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, there's kind of a disconnect there, because it's like that one person doesn't have anything, any ill intentions, but it can be perceived as they're overbearing.
Right.
They're giving too much, or they're just too, it's just a lot. And I don't know. It's kind of
because of a mismatch in investment, like an investment in the situation. Because on the flip side, what does it say about you if you're not comfortable receiving that, that emotion, that effort, right? Like, is it that you don't feel like you're worthy of it? Is it that you feel like somebody's putting in more into the relationship, more invested than you are, which is a really uncomfortable imbalance, because then you're like, okay, I'm just going to crush this person. That sucks.
Where you feel like you owe them a lot because they've done so much for you.
See, this is why this is a good one, because it does raise that question of, because there's so many like valid feelings that can come from both sides. I was like, sometimes like I'm this way. I think all three of us are this way, and Izzy too. I know this, but you're still behind the camera, so we'll get to you. Otherwise, we have to pull you to the couch. I want my partner to be comfortable, right? I want everybody around me to be comfortable. You dig? And I understand, for the most part, like, how, I guess it's not so much of what I understand. It's because I know that ability to be comfortable around other people and kind of thing is such a hard fought thing. I usually kind of try to go out of my way to be like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure you understand that you ain't got to worry about me. I'm not gonna be upset that you feel upset, or I'm not gonna be me being nice to you in this moment, me trying to be kind to you in this moment is just out of the sake of being kind. And in the past, that has like kind of worked against me, in the sake of like, I was told that you seem too nice, and it's like it's such a tightrope balance to walk and try to figure out. That it is, I can understand where people come from on someone is definitely too nice, especially if there's like a lot of trauma in the background going on, or like they did come from like a previous relationship or something where they were definitely like, niceness was definitely used as a manipulation tactic. But it is a hard one to walk.
Well, kindness is a tool to elicit a certain action rather than like,
it's a tool for bargaining and commerce. Like,
who sent the Prince of Egypt to our group chat?
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that
for later.
I've been distracted once again.
That's that ADHD.
Okay, so I got one. I got another one.
Okay.
Controversial maybe, depending on the basis, I guess.
Right.
But when the other partner has more experience, or not more than you, but just like, maybe a history of seeing others. But they're, intentional and saying, I'm ready to have my person to be there. I don't know.
Somebody with a high body count is just absolutely invalid.
Well, okay, there's body count. So there's body count, but then there's actually being in a relationship. I'm talking about the relationship.
Fair enough.
Because like, if you go and you can hoe out, right? You have your hoe face, and your body count can be like, up there, right? And you could be a good person, you could be a bad person, doesn't matter. But it's like, body count's one thing. I'm talking like actual like relationships.
Experience in a relationship.
Because I feel like that requires, again, I haven't had this hoe phase, and I haven't been with like a ton of people.
Y'all ain't gonna keep making me feel bad, all right?
What?
I had my goddamn face.
Like this,
Don't leave me the fuck alone.
I didn't say nothing. I wasn't pointing no fingers. Notice, I was looking away. I was looking over here.
The things you're not looking at sometimes say just as much as the things you
Y'all
are
leave
looking
me
at.
alone. I know I was a whore, all right?
And I'm so proud of you.
And I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Honestly,
But I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
yeah, no, but sometimes I do wish I had that just so I can understand myself more in certain areas, like that whole phase, or at least that, like, you know. But
given what I know about you,
Don't do it.
I can tell you right now, and I think you understand this, but I know it can still be like that. But what if though? What I know about you, a whole phase is not worth it.
Yeah.
A whole phase wasn't even really worth it for me, but because of my sexuality and like just the fact that I'm like not necessarily hypersexual, but like I'm a little more like promiscuous in that like nature. It worked well for me to go on and get like kind of something out of my system that I'd been holding on to for such a long time. Whole phases do not. The only thing
I'm just going to clarify right now. When you say sexuality, you mean libido.
Libido.
Because when you say, the words you was just saying was making it sound like you were gay as hell.
Right? Like I was going around like just fucking everybody. Sexuality in the sense of
something
like,
I've been holding on to that I had to get out of me.
Fair enough. No, like I had a couple year period in which because I was traveling with a company. I was in like a lot of places and so it afforded me the opportunity to have like it was y'all knew about like the first girl I was with and kind of how that ended, and that kind of just kicked off like a we ball type shit, right? So I had those years of like just hookup after hookup after hookup, lots of hookups in a very short amount of time, and it's not like I regret it. There was mostly good times, there was like bad times, but that's always gonna happen no matter what. But like
positive experiences, negative experiences.
Like it's like nothing that I would consider like traumatic or anything. By the end of it, like the only thing it really taught me was how much that I am a relationship type person, and how much I did actually crave a relationship. I guess it did teach me like I do still crave sex. I like a pretty high amount, so I know that much going into any relationship about myself. Even though once I hit 30. As it turns out, that shit still tanks, even from a high level. But yeah, so that's why I say like what I know of you and how you are, it would not have taught you anything, other than it would just reinforce what you already knew. Yeah. And so like if there's any solace, like just know that that's basically what would have came from it. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, sometimes I like wondered, but where I'm at now, I'm glad that I took the path that I did, just because, you know, I'm satisfied with that. But like I was saying, the relationship, like a person's been in multiple relationships and is finally ready to like, you know, settle. Right. People can see people who've had like a history of multiple relationships or whatever as a bad thing, because it's like, oh, why did those end? You know, like, right. What is the problem? Like, what is it? Are they the problem? Is the other partner the problem? You know, do they all end the same? You know, like, sure, there's a lot of that you can get into with that. And sure, you know, it's not always going to be a green flag, right? Obviously, right. If the person is insane or something like that, right?
Well, like self-knowledge and experience, it depends on what has happened. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, is it something where they're learning about themselves and then, like, coming to understand, or is it a pattern? Right. Is it a pattern of behavior that they don't understand how to break out of, where they're, like, seeking something from a relationship that a relationship can't give them? Yeah.
Maybe this is me just hoping or believing in the good in most people, but I would like to think that people who have been in those multiple relationships, who are finally ready to settle down with their person, have learned about themselves through those relationships. Right. I've been through a few relationships, and I feel like I've learned a lot about who I'm looking for, a lot about myself, and I've realized that there are things that I care way more about than I thought I did. And I don't know, it's just a very big, you know, experience going through the few relationships I've been in. And after it, I was like, okay, this is the type of person I'm looking for, and this is what I want, right? And to find that, it's like, okay, this is it. This works.
This works.
So it's like, I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing.
Are you projecting your fear of like somebody else not liking the fact that you've been in relationships onto yourself in that situation?
I don't know. I just know that if there's like this ongoing thing where it's like people just in general see some people having multiple partners and relationships in the past being bad, because it's like, why are you having that many relationships?
So it's funny. Sorry, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, because I've dated the red flag version of this.
Yeah. It's so what you're pointing out to, as it kind of pertains to the prompt, I would say that this is more of a situation of some people have categorically grouped that behavior as a red flag when it isn't always a red flag. Sometimes it's a green flag, sometimes it is a red flag. But it is interesting you brought it up, because that was brought up. And in slightly different capacities, but some people did bring up like the idea of like some people, like you said, they see multiple previous relationships as a red flag, when like sometimes you have to find out, like you can't know, like very few people get that. I was going to say nobody, but I'm sitting here looking at somebody who was able to do a one and done.
I'm actually surprised at the amount of people that I know that don't.
There's actually, like just even in the crossover of our friend group, there's quite a few people that like found their person in high school, and that was pretty much it.
Well, typically one and dones that's still like, I know lots of people, but I know maybe two.
Yeah.
Out of those lots, out of maybe the hundreds, thousands of people I met in my life, I know two.
Yeah.
One and done.
Yeah.
Like,
there's the other side of that of, it's not the amount of relationships that is a red flag, or people at least pointed this out in like sub comments and stuff. It's like, it shouldn't be that they were in a lot of relationships. Sometimes people just like to date, like some people do like being in relationships, and as long as they learn something, what should be a bigger red flag is if every relationship you were in ended terribly. And to me, that is a true red flag. That's the true red flag. If every one of your exes is crazy, if every relationship you were in crashed and burned, that's what I'm looking at. That's what worries me, because now the question is, you have now become the common denominator, right? So what is it about you that has caused? Because it's like I've known people who've had like fucking 4 or 5 partners in the span of like a year, and it's like
every 3 months,
or every 3 months, and it's like, you complain that every one of your partners after the fact was horrible pieces of shit that were crazy. I've come across a lot of people in my life. I can say I've had like a lot of friends and shit. Like I can say, like, obviously I haven't had like a lot of intimate, at least like romantically intimate like partnerships and shit. That's just like who I am. I'm so damn picky that I'm not a serial dater, but I have enough like intimate friendships that it's like, I know the person you dated, and that person is not crazy. Even if this person, even if number 2 is crazy, if number 1 was crazy, okay, I can see that, sure, whatever. Number 2 is also crazy. Okay, all right. Number 3 ain't fucking crazy, and if they are, I have to question what is your decision making process here.
Yeah.
And that starts to unravel a lot of shit. Not to get like too into that topic, but it does.
Well, that's just a defense mechanism, right? Like when people talk about their exes like that, like 90% of people, when you hear them talk about a relationship that's ended or something like that, they will typically tell you, right, what was wrong. Like, oh, I never really wanted to be it in any way. Like, they were a terrible person. Like, da-da-da-da-da. Some of that is discovering things that you didn't really think about from a different perspective. But most of the time, people will, for lack of a better term, shove their ex under the bus because it makes them feel better about how things ended.
Yeah.
It's like you protect yourself and or your ego by saying that,
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm glad I'm out of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think the thing that a lot of people have to realize is humans categorically do not like to be wrong. And they don't like to have to admit that they're wrong about something. So a relationship ending, you either have to look at it, and for a lot of people it's like, and to me this is really more of a sign of, I don't want to call it immaturity, but I'm gonna call it immaturity for now. It's just a kind of a sign of like, you have to understand how everybody thinks. And so they'll end their relationship will end. And at that point, their brain is at a crossroads of, well, if it's over, something wrong had to have happened. Mm-hmm. And if something wrong happened, there's only two people here. So only one of us has to have done something wrong. And in most cases, most humans will not want to choose themselves as being wrong. And this is a whole unconscious process that goes on in a lot of people's brains. Mm-hmm. You don't like being wrong. Mm-hmm. No one, your brain will do insane backflips to wiggle itself out of having to call you wrong and say that it did something wrong, to the point that we had 7 million people vote for an orange Cheeto the second time. And we probably will have that many, if not possibly more, attempt to vote for him a third time. Like, it's wacky what your brain, the mental gymnastics your brain will do to keep from saying it is wrong and that what you have done is wrong. Mm-hmm. And so it's just this weird thing of, because the relationship ended, because relationships are considered good things, if it ended, then something wrong must have happened. And if something wrong happened, clearly it couldn't have been me. So it had to be them.
Right.
It had to be you. And therefore, I'm now going to paint you that's also the weird thing of, like, when you as like an outsider looking in can be like blindsided by a breakup and just like how terrible the other person was. Because it's like, everything was great while you're in the relationship, and then all of a sudden everything was terrible after the fact. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. Like, is a crazy thing kind of to just watch happen, and not a lot of people become like cognizant to their role in it and how they play. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there was one particular comment that kind of sparked a bit of discussion and had me thinking, and this one is like I'll read it first. Mm-hmm. So, a big green flag that could be misinterpreted as a red flag is someone being extremely cautious and slow in entering a romantic relationship. While it may seem like they're not interested or are being distant, they may just be taking their time to ensure a healthy and stable foundation for the relationship, which can actually be a sign of maturity and commitment in the long run. I think, so the thing about this one, and when I initially read it, I agree. My knee-jerk reaction was to agree with it, but like the more I read it, the more I had to question was you taking the relationship slow, the red flag they picked up on, or was it you putting out being uninterested and distant?
I was gonna say, 'cause those
are two
things.
very different things.
Yeah.
And
it's possible to take it slow, communicate about what you want, and get to know somebody.
It isn't
also showing interest, participating in conversations. I want everybody to look at that comment and agree with it 100%, because it makes things a lot easier for me, because I struggle in communicating and showing interest.
Mild autism really likes directness. But yeah, like, I read that, and I read it a couple of times, and I was like, your language tells me it wasn't you taking it slow. Like, it wasn't taking it slow that's the problem. There's plenty of people that take it slow, but they're very upfront about it. Mm-hmm. There was a time in history where like taking it slow was the norm. Nowadays, not so much, especially in like the hookup culture era. And so it's like someone taking it slow is generally a more like unusual thing to go on. So like it's you see a lot more people going very forward about, hey, I take things very slow. We're not going to have sex on the first day. We might even not have sex for the first like 3 months. I want to be very deliberate, very direct. And as far as I know, like those tend to work out pretty well. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like taking it slow. I don't think anyone really sees as a red flag as long as you're upfront about it. But if you're taking it slow is to treat the person you're dating as
like they don't matter.
Like they don't matter, or that they're a problem, or like they're the lead suspect in an investigation. You're an investigation you're the detective of. No one wants to feel like a bad guy for you to take it slow. And I understand, like, don't get me wrong, I understand that people, especially like going into relationships, are probably coming from some level of trauma. And I'm not gonna say that you have to have gone through therapy and be done and over it and like baggage has to be in your past to be in a relationship. In fairness, you probably should, but I'm not gonna say like it's impossible to do so. But like I want to point out, like you can't, like Fluff just said, you can't treat somebody like you don't even like them and then be shocked that they leave. Because the way that the comment was worded and a few of the sub comments basically kind of said the same thing in a way of. So here was a really fun one, and I'm gonna read it, and I want to hear your thoughts on this after I read it. So someone replied to that comment and said, "Man, this kind of interaction pissed me off years ago. I went on a first date with someone and my instinct was to take it slow and allow a casual friendship to blossom first. I didn't want to try getting too serious too quickly, and even if a romantic relationship isn't in the cards, at least I can get a friend out of it. And for that day, I felt like this worked, and the two of us had a great day together. It might not have felt much like a first date, but I felt like we both enjoyed each other's company. The next day, she broke everything off and ghosted me."
What all was communicated? That's my question. Because I feel like a lot of these green flag, seemingly red flag type of things could be avoided
if you just talk to each other.
You communicated your full intention.
Right.
Your full intention. Not just like for tonight, but like this is what I'm looking for, like into the future, long term. Not just short term, but like long term. This is
better if everybody's just a little more autistic.
Just a little more autistic. Or if they admitted to themselves that they are autistic.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about you guys. Well, two things. One, I'm going to bring it back like 5 seconds. This just made me realize something that I knew that I should stop fucking doing. Which is, I definitely inadvertently don't engage very often, or like seldom, or like get stressed out when it comes to engaging in order to protect myself from the relationship and stuff like that. So that might be what they're getting at, is less that like they're like being cautious or whatever, but it just might be an involuntary
coping mechanism.
From like, past relationships and trying to protect yourself. Other thing, we were talking about, there's another date, you broke things off.
Yeah, so
she just wasn't as into you. But
well, and that's another thing too, is like she may have been nice throughout the date, but was like, I'm not going to take this any further.
So now, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said what you said. And I'm glad you said what you said, because I'm going to read the comment I sent back. I replied to that one. I said, so I'm going to recap this as a third party looking in. You were going on a first date. You unilaterally decided to treat it like it wasn't a date. Because remind you, he said he just went off instinct and just decided he was going to...
Oh, I was going to say something. No, right.
Go for it. What you got?
No, I was going to say a lot of people treat dating a lot more like a game than...
Oh, that's a conversation.
Like, I don't know. I was reading some books about romance and seduction, because that's that's the way you do it.
Honestly, it's that I think there's a lot of people that will find that very sexy.
But
green flag.
Green flag.
The like, a lot of people want to be like excited, surprised, like they want to be. It's difficult for me to put into words, because I don't fully understand it. It doesn't fully compute with me and how I operate. So I've been trying to like integrate it into my gears with limited success. But it's you
can do it. I believe in you.
Basically what it comes down to is There's a point at which direct communication becomes unsexy, so people shy away from it.
True.
And that sucks. I think that's stupid.
It is.
But, yeah. Anyways, that was...
And the funny... Now, I could just be a ridiculously lucky person with this. I have not had anyone react negatively to me asking for direct communication beforehand. I've not experienced that before.
What did that look like for you? Like how?
Like quite literally of...
Like an example of like a back and forth.
So...
Nothing too... You don't have to be
like
too
I'm not
specific,
not getting too graphic. I'm just trying to pull up an example right quick.
Yeah.
So there was this girl I hooked up with while I was down in Georgia who was a bit of a masochist. She just kind of in the course of conversation, I found this out about her. When it finally came time for me and her to hook up, I was like, look, it's like I just straight up told her, because I was like, I would rather for this evening to like, and this is what I said in my own head, I would rather this evening to turn unsexy and we just not do it than for me to put myself in a situation, because like mind you, I'm in my hotel room. I got this girl I've only know like literally just her first name and like nothing else about her. And I'm a foreigner down here like in Georgia right now. I would rather not have sex with you than lead to something that's going to get me in more trouble than it's worth. So I literally had a conversation with her, and I just very directly had a conversation with her about what her kink entails and the kind of stuff that she liked. Was there like heavy petting leading up to this? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't I'm not really into like physical kinks. Or like the BDSM side. Like, not that she was like super crazy whips and chains and shit or anything, but she was definitely like being smacked, like being choked, kind of shit like that. I don't do that. That's never really been me.
It's not your MO.
It's not my MO. So I was like, I would rather understand where you're actually coming from than try to figure it out as we go. And it also doesn't help that I'm like a decently, and especially while I was working there, I'm a decently strong person. It doesn't take much for me to hurt a person, even accidentally. And so it's like I would rather I told her, I would rather us have this conversation beforehand and just have it now and then kind of get back into it than the awkwardness of me fucking up multiple times in a row and possibly hurting you in like grievous ways. Like that's an example of like, is it unsexy to end like making out and just getting to the point of like taking clothes off to stop and go, we need a rundown and like a fucking game plan here? Yes, but she also took it pretty well. And this could be because she's like more used to the BDS. Like the kink community does have like a...
most people that engage in kink, or at least participate in that community or listen to the advice of the community, are very fond of direct communication. I want to be clear that what I was talking about is specifically within the sphere of non-sexual romance, or maybe like a little bit of seductive romance, right? But less when it comes to like communication about like consent, boundaries, stuff like that. Because, as much as those conversations can feel unsexy, they are absolutely necessary,
right?
In order to have fun afterwards. Because otherwise, you could end up doing stupid shit.
Yeah. So it's
or misunderstandings.
Yeah. Misunderstandings
that will lead to
a lot.
Like nobody has fun at that point, because like if you're in a position where maybe you're not even comfortable with what you're doing, but you're doing it because you think the other person's going to enjoy it, then they don't enjoy it,
right?
And then like that just throws the whole thing off. Like, it's complicated, but you want to, when it comes to stuff like that, you want to make sure communication is clear.
Yeah. And I would personally argue you have to know yourself well enough to go, if me having a direct conversation with this person is enough to turn them off, was it really worthwhile anyway?
It definitely wasn't.
Yeah. Like, if that's enough where it's one, and I'm not saying like turn them off as in like, that's kind of like the night's like kind of shut down, but we kind of move on with it type shit. If like that's enough for them to like just like, I'm just gonna stop dealing with you now. That's a whole different deal. Like you're not somebody I want to deal with anyway.
Well, it could be a green flag. No.
See, that's a green flag flipped as red.
Flipped as red. You're right.
No, that's definitely not somebody that you would want to engage with, because
like I guess
that's basically the king of out of all red flags I think I've heard, except for maybe like the fact that they're like a sex offender.
Right.
That's probably
I think that
probably the
red flag.
easiest one that I've would be big.
Yeah. Anyone, the red flag, a good red flag is if they don't like open, honest communication. Like that is a red flag. Run as far away as you could possibly can. If you're trying to date this person anyway.
That's the root, I think, of most red flags out there, because you could eliminate a lot of problems if you just communicate.
And
there have been a lot of problems that have been solved just by running with that, idea. It's like, we just need to talk to each other.
We need to sit down and talk to each other. Life lesson for anybody out there dealing with relationship woes: talk to your partner. Usually get things figured out a little bit faster than talking with everybody but them. Bless you.
A lot of times when I'm watching The Bachelorette and they're like complaining at the camera, and I'm like, just fucking talk to them.
Tell him.
Talk to the
I'm going to wait till the confessional.
Like, oh my
the
God.
problem with The Bachelorette, though, is that there's also an element of strategy to it, so people could just be lying to you.
Oh,
through their teeth straight to your face.
Yeah. That's the thing about reality TV that was like, there's always the element of the fact that this person is the fact that everything is happening televised is, and I told you this last year when I went and caught like some of The Bachelor with your family, of like the reason I don't really care for that kind of stuff is that I can get engrossed for a bit, but they'll always end up hitting a point where the thought of this is happening in front of a camera and I don't believe any of this is actually real immediately creeps in, and I'm immediately taken back out of it, and I don't want to ruin that fun for anybody else around me.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's the whole thing about reality TV.
That's why kind of never works for me.
Yeah, like it's the whole thing of reality TV not feeling like reality TV, but then again, isn't that also reality? Where you're always trying to fake it?
Fair enough.
Reality TV. Everybody's faking it.
Everybody.
In real life.
The fucked up part is everybody is faking it all the time. There was an interesting conversation I heard, and honestly, we can be done with this Ask Reddit thing. Like the guy just kind of goes on and is like, and I'm like, you kind of.
No, wait, you didn't finish your.
I didn't finish it. There's kind of not a lot of extra point to it. I asked him, like, so you decided for this not to use. You just kind of the story you said makes it sound like you just went into a first date with someone who also agreed for it to be a first date, and then you just kind of unilaterally decided, I'm not going to treat it like a first date, and then was shocked that, wow, she was cordial. And this is where it comes back into what you said, where she was cordial during the time. Yeah, she's not going to kick up a fuss about it during the time, but then she dropped you and moved on after the fact. And it was like, do you not see probably why she would do that if you didn't even treat this like an actual date? There was a little bit of back and forth. Like there wasn't really an argument. He was kind of going, he just really doesn't understand why it ended the way it did. And I'm trying to get him to understand, it's like, because you didn't even want it to be anything. As far as she knows, you didn't want it to be anything. And I don't know how old this guy is. I don't know how old he was when this took place. But my assumption being like he was at least in like his mid to like late 20s, and like at a time in his life where more than likely she, like, the people at this point are people date with intention, and it's like, if I think this is a weird thing some people like, where they want to like some people, and I say some people, it is in my experience like a lot of women want to believe that everyone kind of like that if nothing else comes from this, there's always like a friendship, and I don't believe that. Sometimes, like, I'm not looking to cultivate new friendships. Like, I know myself well enough that, like, trying to cultivate a new friendship, at least in this way, is not going to work out. So let's not. So if we're not going to date, there's not going to be anything else there then.
I think That's a whole can of worms.
It is.
That though I do think is an impulse that from what I know about you, I think is very specific to you.
Right.
I don't know. There are people that I have met that I was like, I could absolutely be friends with this person.
Don't get me wrong.
But it's a challenge to go in with an intent to date.
Right.
Start off the relationship that way, and then take it back to a friendship.
Take it back to a friend. Yeah.
Especially when things often don't end smoothly.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or like, what's the cutoff point at which we stop calling this a dating relationship and decide for it to be a friendship? I think it's very rare for that to happen, but it is possible.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the Reddit thread. Relationships are fun, and navigating them is a fucking crazy thing to deal with. Mm-hmm. Is pretty much the end of that, and I'm gonna pretend like that's the reason I'm still single. Shut up.
The nervous laughter.
But on to some more fun stuff, though.
Yeah.
Let's move on to you, Mr. Kenton, Mr. Formz.
I guess the first topic I want to bring up is something that I talked about like already earlier, like I don't know, a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many things that I've learned over the past like 2-3 years that just is common knowledge to a lot of the population.
Oh boy, what are we about to learn?
So, me and my fiance were about to send out our save the date. And so, Blitz knows this, Fluff knows this. I haven't talked at super length. We just like messaged in Discord about it, I think.
Oh no.
But, so we're about to send our save the dates. We have them. And now we got to send them out. We have to get stamps to ship these save the dates. And we're looking at stamps because none of us have actually like mailed a legit letter to anybody. So we're just like, okay, we got to have a stamp on the letter. How much do stamps cost? So we're looking online and we're like, okay, we see some stamps. They're like, 50 cents, 60 cents. It's like, oh, we see one that's like 10 cents. Okay, that's cool. We see one that's 1 cent. Okay, cool. So we'll just order those. Order how many save the dates? We got 300, 150, whatever, however many we have.
Let's get a cool 300.
We'll just get 300 $1 cent stamps. Right? That's what we need. So like, perfect. So.
All right, as it turns out, apparently Izzy did know this.
So we have a plan. We got a plan. And so she's got to save the dates. I'm the one that's going out to get the stamps. I go to the postal office. I'm ready. I go up to the front desk. They're like, hey, how may I help you? I'm like, hey, got to send out some stuff. I need some stamps. And they're like, okay, what kind of stamps are you looking for? I'm like, yeah, the regular stamps, just, the 1 cent ones. And she's like, the 1 cent ones? I'm like, yeah, the 1 cent ones. She's like, the 1 cent ones aren't gonna send anything anywhere. I'm like, what do you mean the 1 cent ones aren't gonna send anything anywhere? And she's like, no. We don't sell. We don't have the 1 cent ones. It's not going to get the letter anywhere. All the stamps, at least. The general stamp cost, 66 cents anywhere you go. I'm like, well then why do you have 1 cent stamps on your website? And she's like, yeah, but we don't sell those, all the stamps in order to ship them anywhere, 66 cents for the basic stamp to send anything anywhere. I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay, you're the dumb one because you got 1 cent stamps on the site. I should be able, I didn't say this, but I'm like, I should be able to just take one of those, slap it on my letter, and then give it to you, like go, right? Because
how are you gonna do the difference?
Right. What are we doing?
Like every letter has to have a stamp. I'm not dumb, I know this. But apparently,
You ain't about to swindle me.
Yeah.
I know I saw 1 cent stamps.
Yeah.
You ain't about to upcharge me today.
I went into the postal office expecting to only pay $3. I was only expecting $3 to slip out of my pocket that day.
As it turns out, when it's 66 times the price.
No.
Like,
$200 slipped out of my pocket for
Bro,
300 stamps.
You told me that, and I was like, and mind you, I didn't say it to you because you were messaging me at the time, and you said instead of paying $3, you paid $200. I was like, there's no goddamn way.
It sounds
There's
wild.
no way.
It sounds wild, but
Then I was like, well, what's 2/3 of 300? Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
I'm like, holy shit, the price went from $3 to $200.
yes. I walked out of there thinking I just got swindled. I was like, there's no way. There is absolutely no way. They are messing with us right now.
About to go return some stamps.
Literally. I just did some simple Google searching. How much does a stamp cost? 66 cents. I'm like, oh, okay, but like, how much does it cost to send a letter? And it's
One stamp.
one stamp, which is, well, one regular stamp, which is 66 cents. I'm like, wait, so you're telling me if I would have ordered like 300 1-cent stamps, I would have had to put 66 stamps on the cover, on the envelope in order to get it sent?
As it turns out, yes.
Yes, I would have. I did not know that. I just thought that as long as the envelope had a stamp on it, it didn't matter what the stamp was, what the sent number was, what beautiful picture was on the stamp. As long as the envelope had a stamp, you were good. Like, you could just pay that 1 cent, give it to the postal office, and it's like, psh, gone. That's it.
Brody, like, I rag on you about some shit sometimes, and I'm like, bro, how did you not know this? I can guarantee you I would have did the exact same thing.
Homie, I didn't even know stamps cost 1 cent. So
I am glad to know that I am not the only one who does not know this.
there are some old people out there right now being like, this
Generations like, look, Mabel.
never send a goddamn letter spelled away with their freaking fingers in their whole fucking life.
Yeah, Mabel, it's almost like we have technology now. Like, I don't deal with that shit because I don't have to pay to send an email. I don't have to pay extra to send an email. Like,
Yeah, Mabel, you can't even send a text message.
And we look at that and we're like, ah,
fuck, this
what are
it
you
is.
doing? You're just
What are you,
technological in
stupid?
advance. Yeah.
I will say, after that whole debacle, the craziest part about the whole thing to me was you learning and subsequently myself learning that we still basically pay for the postal service with stamps and shipping.
No.
Right.
It's like this thing, this fucking industry that, along with like railroad, I want to say traffic, and that's not the word, but road services and a few other things is basically the backbone of the infrastructure of this society. Is not paid for with government money. It's not paid for by taxes. It's paid for by.
Well, the post office has not been the postal service has not been profitable for a very, very, very long time.
True.
Because the
advent of the internet.
no, because they can't raise prices.
Well,
I feel like we know some stamps that have.
No, like legally, the price of shipping right now has been like locked by a legislative bill.
I was gonna say it's like a lot of red tape type shit.
what year? Because I know I when I did the research, I read that at the end of 2022 last year. Well, probably not 2 years.
Well, there
now
was an
after
effort
this episode
to like
releases.
privatize the postal service, and I don't know how that concluded. So in 2022, they may have bumped it up.
Yeah, like apparently the holiday season of 2022 tanked the postal service, so they raised the price of stamps up to 66 cents. And I don't know what it was before that, but apparently it was less than 66.
See, the thing is, my point being, is crazy to me that the postal service is not just a budgetary like department of like our taxes. Like the entire point in which the idea of this industry did not make enough money is crazy to me that it's just not in the budget plan, and it's never been. It's never been just a part of like our tax goes to that budget. It is crazy to me that that's not the case.
Well, that's why we should run the government as a business, right?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, but holy fuck, bro. Like, you told me that, and I was like, there's no goddamn way. There's no fucking way. And sure enough, there was a way.
Do you guys know that in some rural areas, the Postal Service was a bank for a little while?
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a service they don't offer anymore, but...
Like, they held your money?
Well, it was like, because in rural areas, you don't necessarily have those institutions that come out and do that. So,
Right.
like, the Postal Service, well, you could open a bank account there.
Interesting.
At least that is my understanding of it.
Fair.
Only accepting stamps. Or hold your money if they're stamps.
It's funny because, like you saying that, we clearly only have 1 cent stamp. Like, actually, I say clearly, there's no great reason we still have 1 cent stamps.
I'm pretty sure they're collector's items.
At this point, I can only imagine they're collector's items. Because I was going to say, they're basically just like pennies. Like, there's no great reason to have a penny. There's nothing you can buy that's worth a penny.
Unless you, like, save up enough of them. Which is, like, when I was doing my research, I saw this one Reddit post of this Redditor who was like, you know, yeah, like, back in the day when it was, like, 48 cents per, you know, to ship, right, per regular stamp. They had these, like, vending machines. They may still have these. I have no idea. But they had these vending machines that, like, you could order or, you know, put in the stamp that you need and it will drop down along with, like, a couple 1 cent stamps or something. Well, this person kept taking all the 1 cent stamps that nobody would pick up until they had enough to, like, literally cover a whole envelope's worth of stamps in order to ship it. But of course, now that it's 66 cents, you can't fit all those stamps onto an envelope. So that wouldn't work anymore. But apparently...
Does it all have to be on one side?
I don't know.
I think so.
That's what the
I'm
Redditor
here
was
thinking
saying.
to myself that we should send a letter with 66 1 cent stamps just for the kicks of it. I mean, we could grab a manila envelope.
Right?
Start slapping shit on there.
Just
Oh
fucking
my
fill that bad
gosh.
boy with stamps.
Yes.
Run into a higher cost for a larger envelope. I'm not sure.
Shit.
Maybe.
And we'll keep adding fucking stamps to it, motherfuckers. Like,
See, we don't know how the postal office truly works in it.
Obviously.
clearly. Look, bruh. The only thing I want to do with the postal office is I get a tracking number from a fucking shop I bought from, and that's about all of my involvement with USPS.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want to. I don't want to have to. Like, there was some years ago. I think I was getting like a new pair of Raycons at the time, and if y'all want to sponsor us, you know, I was getting a pair of Raycons, and they got like, I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm fairly certain somebody stole them, and I'm fairly certain the person who was delivering stole them. Actually,
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not even so much that I was certain. It was more or less confirmed for me by the other person who delivered my earbuds. Because, like, I ordered them off the website. They're obviously shipped through USPS. I get your package has been delivered, nowhere to be seen. It's not in our mailbox. Like, the mailbox is around. Like, we know our name. Like, this was back when I was still living in the old apartment building with my parents. We know all of our neighbors because it's one of those things where you have to, like, every, like, gigantic complex with a bunch of buildings. You go into one building that separates off in like 12 different apartments, and the mailboxes are inside of there. So it's not like an outside deal where somebody can just like go grab them, whatever. Like, you had to walk in, and I know the earbuds would have gotten put in because I've had them before,
Right.
and I know they would get delivered to the mailbox. So I know they're not in my mailbox. They're not in any of our neighbors' mailboxes. I'm being told they've been delivered. So I contact. I don't think I even contact Raycon at this point. I contact USPS about a missing package. I was like, "Hey, I was told my delivery was delivered, and I'm not seeing it. What do we got to do to get this figured out?" And that, like, the reason I brought this up because, like, I ended up having to go up and visit them and talk to them. No. Wait. I'm trying to remember some details. No, I got a notification that it was delivered from Raycon when USPS never told me it was delivered. I ended up finding out from USPS that it was returned. So that's like, oh, it was returned. So, like, I go back. It was like, it's like at the fulfillment center or some shit. I go back. I'm like, hey, I'm just looking for my package. What's going on here? And so a whole rigmarole goes on with that shit. It's annoying as fuck. The next day, the So like the day it was supposed to be delivered, they had a new guy delivering shit.
Oh.
The next day, one of the regular people I'm used to was delivering, and I'm like, I'm just telling her the deal. She was like, yeah, that guy is like not with the company anymore. He was like kind of doing some shady stuff.
Okay.
So just had someone just straight up just steal my earbuds. That was great.
Wow.
But like, yeah, no, having to go up and deal with, having to like to visit a post office was more involvement with the post office than I ever want.
Yeah.
Like I just never. And I'm not trying to shit on the postal service. I think it does.
Guys, sounds like you're on the home.
It sounds like I am.
Guys, like you're coming from my neighbor was a postal worker on, you know.
Like
we love y'all postal workers. Just the rules that.
Oh, he's about to vomit all over your leg.
Okay,
Fair enough.
But no, we love you postal workers. It's just the rules that y'all go by,
the postal office.
and the place. I don't know. We don't know the rules. We don't know.
I don't know the rules.
We don't know.
I'm happy not knowing the rules. I'm happy with shit just running. And I want to continue to keep it that way. And the less letters I have to send in my life, the better.
Y'all do you. We'll keep up with the emails and the texts. We'll use the stuff when we need to. We just won't know the rules. You're gonna have to be a little nice to us.
It's so sweet that you can just go down to a building and be like, "Hey, I have this thing. I want to send this thing to this place," and then you just like give them $5,
And they're like, "Sweet, we got you, baby."
All right.
That's pretty cool.
And I like it when that's all you got to do. So anywho, yeah, that was your ordeal with the post office.
So that was fun.
With stamps.
Learning something new.
Learn something
all
new
the time.
Sending letters is very expensive.
Yeah, when you got to do a lot of them. But yeah.
Anywho, what else you got for us?
So there was that, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about this anime that I started watching, and it's the Crunchyroll link right up there.
Ooh, let's see. It's gonna play a video when we open this up.
It shouldn't. It should just take you straight to the. Yeah, there you go. And I don't know. Maybe this is.
It's based on. Oh, this is the one with that freaking elf.
Yeah, like this could be like super popular. I have no idea, but I've been on this like weird like I guess it's not weird, but like half like slice of life and half like I don't know. I've had a lot of like the shonen fighting, you know, type my fill of that, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that I hate it or anything. I love that stuff, but
he's just full.
Yeah. After a while, I'm just like, okay, I need something a little calm, something a little chill, something a little laid back. And a lot of my recommendations are that now because it's like I've been on that kick for a while. And so this has a little bit of action and cool like stuff in it, but for the most part, it's kind of a slight, it plays itself as like a slice of life fantasy adventure type of thing, but it's really chill. I'll just read the synopsis essentially. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And this is like the little blurb on Crunchyroll. It says, after the party of heroes defeated the Demon King, they restored peace to the land and returned to lives of solitude. Generations pass, and the elven mage Frieren comes face to face with humanity's mortality. She takes on a new apprentice and promises to fulfill old friends' dying wishes. Can the elven mind make peace with the nature of life and death? Frieren embarks on her quest to find out. And it's really charming. Essentially, it says there, this elf mage is a part of the hero's party that defeats the Demon King, but because she's an elf, she's gonna outlive like all her party members and pretty much everybody she knows.
Right.
So it's like, what does that do to your mental? You know? And it kind of explores that, of course, within the world of fantasy and adventure and whatnot. But I don't know. It's just been an interesting ride to see how that's changed this character and what she does with all this mass amounts of information, lessons, you know, spells that she knows, how she manages to teach this new apprentice and raise them. What new people she meets with this massive, you know, knowledge bank that she has, and how she deals with having that massive knowledge bank. it's just been an interesting, I don't know. You think about life, and like while she's thinking about human mortality, it also makes you think about human mortality and raises a lot of really mature, surprisingly mature questions about like, okay, life and death. Like, yeah, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you by? Right? The people that you're surrounded with in your lifetime, right? How do you want them to view you? How many regrets will you have when you pass? Will you have any? Why do you have those? It really just makes you think. I don't know. I recommend this a lot for people who just are really, introspective like that, or who just really like a good watch that gets them to really think about stuff.
Fair. It's nearly 5 stars with 42,000 ratings.
Yeah.
The memes have been appearing.
Yeah, it's great, and they're still releasing. I think it's going to be it just surpassed the 12 episode mark, so it's going to be at least a 24 episode series. Okay. But of course, this is based off of a manga, so I haven't read that.
I was gonna say, I think I started reading this one a little bit, but
she looks really familiar.
I guarantee you've seen pictures of her on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. I mean, familiar in a way of I'm fairly certain I've seen her in an anime, like a different anime.
She probably looks, like your regular,
honestly, yeah,
silver-haired high elf.
High elf anime. High elf is silver/lilac colored hair. It's probably a pretty standard. Yeah, no, that sounds very interesting. Like that sounds like,
yeah.
I don't know how much fun there is to be had with the concept or how much they decide to have with it, but it does sound like it could be a very fun thing. It
essentially launches very shortly after, they've defeated the Demon King, and then it pretty much goes straight into her after, like decades after, like what she's doing now. Mm-hmm. But it continues to go and do like flashbacks into like, okay, during their travels as a team, this is what they went up against. This is, the kind of relationship that she has with the leader, with the priest on the team, with the barbarian on the team. It really explores those different relationships and also kind of, the different aspects to who they are and their own personalities. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, because a lot of these I'm just like, watch a couple episodes. I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice. And I usually just, once I'm getting into like 3 or 4 episodes in, a lot of times I'll just finish it out without really caring too much about it. And I was like, yeah, that was all right. But this one, I felt the need to tell somebody about this, because I just feel that, I don't know, this has the ability to strike a chord with certain people who are just really in their introspective phase of their lives, just like thinking about their life, what they want their legacy to be, who they want themselves to be in the future, as well as having them take a look around and seeing like, okay, I like what I'm doing, or I don't like what I'm doing. I like the people who I'm around, or I don't like the people who I'm around. It's a lot of, again, very interesting.
Sounds very therapeutic.
It is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's more because maybe that's what I needed. But I don't know. I rarely come across shows that have that, I guess, opportunity that to help you to be entertaining, of course. Because again, there's some crazy stuff because she's lived such a long life and has all these spells in her back pocket. She's powerful.
Yeah.
But she's tiny. So, and she, knows how to, go under the radar, so to speak. So there's a lot of fun, interesting situations that she finds herself in, that she's able to get out of, because of her experience. But it's just very interesting and fun. So yeah, there's very few shows that is fun, introspective, and keep me engaged the entire time. This is one of the rare shows that does that. That kind of hits all those cylinders for me.
I get what you're saying. There are definitely times when like shows have struck a chord with me. Like Steven Universe is one of them.
Mm.
Avatar, Last Airbender is one of them. Shows where you're like, fuck, that's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
I'll have to check this one out for sure.
Same.
Yeah, highly recommend. I think they're dubbing it right now. I think there are 12 episodes dubbed as of today's recording.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be done by the time this episode releases, but I think they're like up to 14 or 15 episodes in sub. So
when did they start?
Sounds like a show you should watch both ways.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. Again, that's Frieren Beyond Journey's End, and I watched it on Crunchyroll. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but definitely check it out.
Hell yeah.
Great watch.
For those watching the video, it will be up on screen for you to see. But hell yeah, I think I'll have to check that one out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So
we can ignore that last one. I skipped. I pretty much skipped over that one. We'll talk about that another time.
I hadn't been able to focus on it for the longest, but I now realize what it is, and that's fantastic.
I had to.
You're able to actually map out the route. We'll talk about it another time.
Every time, without fail.
Fair enough.
What?
We'll talk about it later. You were sending me stuff that you want to talk about today, and this has me the most curious.
Yes. So, it's.
That looks like an AI generated image.
I think it is, and that's the reason why I have these images here is because they're starting to piss me off. On social media, and people don't realize it, or they're sharing it saying, "Oh, this would be cool," but I've seen way too many people on Facebook, Twitter. I don't really go on Reddit much, but like all my friends and family and other people who I'm following on Facebook and Twitter or X, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is coming out! Oh, live action, the Polar Express, or live action, the Prince of Egypt," and where I'm like,
"Oh, I see.
I don't know what to believe." Because AI is so good nowadays, and you can take those images and superimpose whatever you want on top of them to make it look even more believable.
Look, there is no way on God's green earth that the Christmas Express, that poster was designed, approved, and sent out the door with the Christmas Express blending into the Warner Brothers logo seamlessly.
There's no way in shit.
Yeah.
There's no way in fucking hell. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, but the post that I'm seeing people share, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to boot it up on Max on December 24th this year." Like, first of all, this would be getting way more press.
Way more press. You would never have to, it would never be a surprise that this is coming out.
Right. And yeah, secondly, the poster in this one specifically, the design, terrible.
Right.
Ass,
the stairs are contiguous. He has two different shoulders.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Warner Brothers like brand guidelines definitely wouldn't let you.
I know,
put
that's what
anything
I'm
over
saying.
the top of the logo.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's probably a minimum spacing, probably minimum or different like sizing, positioning rules. Like there's no fucking.
So in just
actually,
and just hearing y'all talk about it, and he's gonna there he goes. And just us talking about this right now, this is, I wouldn't even call it like insider secrets, but this is definitely like trade secrets of we are like. Even though we come from like kind of do of the same walks of like you have your 3D artist, game designer, tech artist, all that fun shit. Mm-hmm. We all come from a background of design. Basically, design is kind of the umbrella we're in. So part of our training,
so we could function in media.
Exactly. So our training is in digital media, is like the overarching umbrella. So we can look at certain things and go, "There's no way in fuck." Like we can look at a poster and like scrutinize it. So there's the one angle of it looks AI generated, which I think can have some like, you can have some like, because I wouldn't put it past certain corporations to
do an AI
do an AI image. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact,
it's getting hard for me to tell.
It's getting hard to tell, but looking at this one, look how sharp his right shoulder is.
That's what I'm saying.
That looks like an AI image thing, but I'll even give
Look
AI.
at the way the wood on the railing is constructed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, like those stairs are kind of nonsensical.
Yeah, like where are the stairs going?
Literally
What?
nowhere.
object. What is he inside of?
But like, right? It's supposed to be a train station, but
The stairs don't have a rail.
do they not?
No.
They don't. They
The
super
stairs
don't.
are literally coming up next to but
So the point, like,
you can also tell how airbrushed his flesh is.
yeah, which because what is the idea supposed to be? This is supposed to be live action.
I think so.
We're like the world's most like that looks. See, if you had told me that was supposed to be like a high quality remake of Polar Express, I'd be like, okay, I could. That's definitely fake. That's not Tom Hanks. That's not Tom Hanks at all.
Right.
That is a facsimile of Tom Hanks.
A homunculus.
A
They
homunculi.
figured it out.
Oh, they've been figured it out. We
They're
know that.
here.
Disney's actually still running Disney.
They do have his head frozen, apparently.
They do. They do. It's down there.
It's homunculitized.
We got to go get jobs at Disney so we can get access to the secret tunnel that leads to us.
That'd just be our whole side mission while we're there.
Yep.
Like, once we clock out, all right,
Got to go find it.
have you checked the freezer down
Nah,
in
you
the
ain't gotta,
crew member?
they just tell you as long as you work there. You just have to be an employee. So, the only reason like no one has like actually said it with any actual proof yet is because no one's really thought about it.
So what you're telling me is we need to go to Disney already with our Mickey and Minnie Mouse
You don't have
costumes.
to get a job there to do that. We can find some insider information. We can break in. It'll be a field trip.
It'll be a family vacation.
Film your crimes, kids.
But yeah, it's like we can scrutinize the stuff, and we, for the most part, see it basically immediately. Like we look at these things and like just the fact that all of us could looked at this and went, "There's no way in shit anybody who gets paid any kind of money to do graphic design put the term Christmas Express in front of that logo, let alone in that font with that color."
Bevel and emboss.
Like,
blending in
that's
with
not
everything
Comic
going on.
Sans, but it may as well be.
May as well be in this instance.
I wonder if it's Period Pro.
It very much might be. So I say that to say I understand how the average person gets tricked by this stuff.
Yeah, I see
Also,
it.
does
It
Warner
just,
Brothers have a relationship with Max?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think
I was
HBO.
just
I think
curious.
Warner Brothers is owned by HBO or the other way around.
So the Warner Brothers logo is definitely dropped in there. I was checking that out. There's unless AI is very good with that, I don't think that's AI generated.
I think somebody generated that original image and then just threw on the logo and the text. And
Yeah.
I will say I've never seen Tom Hanks look so good. Look at the shadow on his lip.
It does look very.
Look at the shadow on his bottom lip. He
Yeah.
doesn't have an upper lip. It's just a shadow.
Like at first glance, for the first 5 seconds, that image does not look bad.
Look at my
Yeah.
mustache.
I
AC.
see.
Does
I
it
see what you're
cast
saying.
that big of a
Like,
shade?
It's not.
It's completely like dark.
It's just a
Actually, as soon
void.
as I noticed that, it's staring me in the face. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Top
Yeah.
lip is made out of mustache.
That was definitely generated by AI. The images, the background is more likely just like someone took it from something.
He does have that twinkle in his eye.
He does have that twinkle in his
Now
eye.
take a look at the Prince of Egypt one though, because that one for a minute I was like, wait, really?
See, the
No
thing
way.
is, I look at this and I go, I've seen a fucking bajillion paintings that look just like this.
Right.
Also, was the Prince of Egypt about Moses?
Can you zoom in on
Yeah.
this? I'll open it.
I have to open it in the browser.
It was.
Okay.
The
I always
spacing and
forget because
everything
I get it
is
kind of
pretty
confused with the Joseph.
We're gonna save it. Okay, no, I want to see those names. Show
Oh.
me the names.
Mina Masad, Remy Malik, Angela Bassett.
Like,
Honestly, I do get that. James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
It's who?
it's like
Fair.
God,
when
I don't know. if
this
it's James
when
Right.
this happens, I'm like,
Voice of Darth Vader, Mufasa.
mate, but then I'm like, no, I haven't
actually
heard
probably got
anything.
Actually, probably
When I
Actually,
first
probably got it.
like when I first hear stuff like this through social media, my instant reaction is no, because I'm like, I didn't hear it from freaking TV. I didn't see anything on my YouTube saying, "Oh, this trailer dropped." Like,
Right.
I don't believe it anymore, especially when people are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're making this. Oh my gosh, it's coming out soon." I'm like, no.
Trailer or it didn't happen.
Right.
Speaking of though,
This is enough to make me Google it though.
Right.
Same. I would Google this.
And that's why I'm like, I would like it to happen. I don't know if I would want those actors or actresses.
I think
You
that's
guys know that this was one of the most expensive animated films of all time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Given looking at that, I don't know who Mina Masad is, at least immediately off the top of my head. Remy Malek is he's a name I hear in everything. I don't really know how I feel about him, but
I want them to do a
Who the hell that
casting.
boy?
I want them to do a
Remy
casting
Malek,
announcement.
he was I want to say he played Freddie Mercury in the Freddie Mercury biopic.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah.
With the big eyes.
Yes, him.
If they did this,
If they
it'd be
did
hilarious if they did something like they did with the Mario movie.
He
Just
always looks
crazy
like he's
casting.
going through
Right.
some kind of psychosis.
He does.
But no, like I don't think I even looked this up because I didn't want to be heartbroken, but at the same time I'm like I don't want to believe that this is coming out because again all the AI stuff that I've seen over the past few weeks even I'm just like I can't believe it right now.
Well, it's at least 3 different images. The way the cape is floating in the water gives unprofessional.
Yeah.
But somebody Google this for me because I don't believe that it's not real.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna make you feel better or worse.
I mean,
Nah.
I may as well do it right
You
now.
I
brought
just
it
did
here
it.
for
Oh, you
live,
just did.
the live reveal.
The live reveal of this shit ain't happening. Like this shit's fake as fuck, bro.
Okay, as I figured. I mean,
this does not exist. There is no Prince of Egypt remake in the works.
they could do it, and they could do it well if they put the time, effort, money, everything into it. I just do not accept.
I don't believe in God no more. I would watch the shit out of that movie.
The Prince of Egypt.
The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
That movie was so good.
it was.
It's a really
It's
good
been
movie.
so long since I've actually sat and watched it, but I do remember it was one of the best things I watched when I watched it.
I actually watched it like 3 months ago or something.
Oh
Really?
yeah,
Really?
how did you like it?
Nice.
It was good. I mean, I'd seen it before, but
Oh, I mean, how did you re-like it?
it was good. It was
Still
Held up
holds
good still.
yeah.
Mm.
Right.
Except for all the racism, though.
Oh. Yeah. No. The get ready because there's gonna be a long train of
No pun intended.
right. No fucking pun intended. But like there's
It
gonna
took me
be.
a second. I was like, why is there a train in Prince of Egypt?
That's what I thought too.
I was like,
That's what
why?
I thought too. I was like,
Is this a sex joke? No.
I had to
don't
look to the
think
left.
so.
I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh
Polar
yeah,
Express.
there's the Christmas.
The Christmas Express.
That's also.
Why is it called the Christmas Express?
Right.
Like,
They could have done better.
right?
It's like all of this was possible with compositing before. It's just
Right.
super. It's easier now than ever before.
Also, the extra fucking cherry on top of this shit. If the Polar Express live action remake was happening, I think that if anyone's gonna know it's happening, it's the motherfuckers living in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Absolutely.
The people who live in the location in which the movie takes place.
Yes.
Or at least the beginning of the movie takes place, or some part of the movie takes place.
I always forget that is it
It's that
all the kids or is it
city.
just like that one kid?
They never explain where all the kids came from before they
Okay.
got on. It's like you just know the main character and the kid after him.
Yeah.
Get on it like relatively the same location.
A lot of those kids are dead, right?
A lot of those kids may have never existed as far as we know. It's very confusing.
Talk about the storyline
Well,
of the Polar
it's like,
Express?
why do you need the live action Polar Express? You already have the Polar Express.
You already have the Polar
Is that
Express,
not live action enough?
right? Quite frankly,
Uncanny Valley
I
and stuff and all?
would love a remake of Polar Express because like its whole thing was it being like kind of a marvel of like mocap, very like good looking animations and shit like that.
Remake
Still really uncanny. Though.
It's still very uncanny. So I would like to see like an updated version of it.
of
I think
it
that'd be
like
pretty
more
fun.
animated or
Just
live
like
action?
no, just like and
Or
it's
the
still
same?
animation, just with modern techniques, modern like engines and shit like that.
With Avatar.
Right, like basically like given like what 3D animation can be now compared to what was it 2000
yeah,
fucking what 2
something like
3
that.
something like that.
I
We
was
know they
very
can make
small.
it look better.
Like I would love to see an updated Polar Express, but I'm not. I think we had this conversation last week or the first episode of I'm never gonna clamor for something to be live action.
I actually don't give a shit.
I do not care about things being in live action if they started off as anime or animated. As anime.
Oh my god, you're turning into your mom.
Explain.
Old people have started to call animated things, period.
Oh, anime.
Anime. Now, I have not heard this from your mother specifically in real life.
Because that was
more just like out.
No, that's fair.
General.
That's fair. No, the thing that threw me off is I didn't know exactly what direction of the joke you were going for, but I do know growing up being called my mom's twin my whole fucking life. And so I was like, I was trying to work that into a weird Ouroboros, like, it's all converging back in on itself. But yeah, no, I accidentally said anime. I meant animated. Like I don't give a shit about live action remakes. I don't want. I could enjoy
Don't
something.
shake your head. Yes, you do.
I'm shaking my head saying I understand where you're coming from. I like live action remakes if they're done well. If they're done well. If they have the budget, the heart.
It's not to say I dislike live action remakes. It's not that I don't like live action remakes. It's that I don't have that, oh man, I would love to see this in live action feeling, right? Like I don't care to have things remade in live action.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
That's fair.
Like if it's good, it's good. Like I'm never gonna fucking shit on that. But I was never like as much as I loved Mulan as a kid. Like Mulan was my Disney. Like that was my Disney movie.
Yeah.
As much as I loved that as a kid, there was never a time in my life I was like, man, I really want to see what live action Mulan looks like.
Disney had no right to go and do all those live action remakes that they did. Only maybe one or two of them worked okay. I will say the Aladdin, that one was okay. Everybody gave that hate because of the blue genie.
Yeah, Will Smith did look kind of.
I didn't think that was bad. They did change. Didn't they change it so that he wasn't blue? I think in the end.
No, I think they kept him. I mean, if by the end he was, I never actually watched it because I didn't.
I'm trying to remember exactly, but there was a whole fuss about him being blue.
The live action remake I've seen was The Mermaid.
Oh, you saw the Little Mermaid live action? How was that?
It was pretty good.
Okay, because
I found out later the abs were CGI and it made me sad.
The
Prince Eric's?
No, you don't see Prince Eric's abs.
Wait, whose abs?
Have you not seen the Little Mermaid's abs?
No.
In the live action remake.
Why would anybody
Google it?
Why would anybody fucking care?
Do we want to Google it?
Are you kidding me?
She's a 16-year-old. Like 16-year-olds don't have abs.
Is she
was
really?
the actress actually
I
16?
hope they do.
Well, no, the actress.
Oh, the Little Mermaid is 16. I thought you said the actress.
No. The Little Mermaid is 16. Hey, Halle Bailey.
I was like,
never say her name
16?
right. I think she's like 21.
Yeah, I thought that, but you got me questioning it for a second.
God, this is gonna be weird. Why am I looking up the Little Mermaid abs?
Their abs are they're fucking hot.
Why did they? I don't understand why you would need to.
Just look up the Little Mermaid. Period. Like, she has the abs for days.
And you said that they were fake?
Yeah, well, I looked at some of their like behind the scenes stuff, and she was wearing green screen stuff. I'm pretty sure, like all the way, almost whole body.
Interesting.
And so like, in most shots, I'm pretty sure that most underwater shots, I'm pretty sure her abs are CGI.
I'm very shocked by that because I don't see why it.
Maybe I'm the only one who sat there. I thought those abs are giving.
I think so.
We don't doubt you. We're just
like,
I'm curious.
That's such a weird thing to me that they would add, because I would fully see them. The complaint I would imagine here was they CGI'd out Halle Bailey's abs, because like Ariel's supposed to be a 16-year-old girl, right? She's a child. She's a teenager.
I had abs when I was 16.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I'm sure fish people probably do too.
Fish people, they swim with their core. There's
right.
Those abs are.
Like, does it make sense for her to have abs? Yeah, absolutely. But The idea that, like, them CGI in like abs is such a weird thing to me, but
Okay, now we have to look about behind the scenes of the Little Mermaid because they literally show it like in the after credit scene of whatever they were doing.
you got to find the video, man.
I'll have to. Maybe next episode we get.
Yeah, next episode. If we find it,
if you type BTS, you're gonna find a whole bunch of BTS stuff.
Yeah, like maybe we'll find it. Is it this?
Yeah, shit like. What the hell?
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to dive into
See,
the
look at
world
that.
of joy and excitement of audiences everywhere. Welcome to the exclusive behind-the-scenes journey of the sensational 2023.
This is absolutely not exclusive at all.
I'm your
I
host,
mean,
the self-proclaimed Sultan of Slurp, and get ready to flip your
that could just be general
we have some
mocap.
mind-blowing facts and exclusive footage to share with you today.
I guess I don't doubt that they probably used a model for everything under her neck.
You see, leading up to
Right.
the release, some hate groups tried to rain on our parade. But guess what?
Is this the video you were talking about?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
not at all.
We will find that
Because
video.
it's literally like an extra feature that they play after the.
Oh, okay.
After the
Well, we will, if we can get a hold of that video, we'll find that and play it another time.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't doubt that they probably did use a majority of like CGI for everything under the neck. Because I mean,
Right.
she's a fish; they got to animate a certain way. I could believe that they just like snatch her head, her real head,
And just
throw
put
it on a
3D
model.
Well, they could have 3D scanners, so the abs are real and they are her abs, but
But
they're
they're
the CG
also
version.
fake.
That's
Yeah.
it's. I get my deal is it's just how like Disney has normally worked, and the way that they normally try to portray female characters. It's weird to me that they would go through the effort to put the abs back in if that's the case. Like that's so weird to me.
One Disney exec's like, wait a minute.
She has to have the abs.
Where are her abs? Johnny, what did you do to them? What did you do? Put it back.
Oh man,
I actually hate that.
you do? Now you hate it?
Nah, I mean, just the idea of a Disney exec being as excited as I am personally.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
you're not as different than the billionaires as you thought you were, Fluff.
But no, like Disney has no right doing what they did to like all of those classics. You're right. I did not need a live
Right.
action of The Lion King.
As far as I know, everybody did. Like
I
never
know.
saw it, so I have
It wasn't giving what it should have.
fair.
I will say that.
If I haven't seen it either, but I imagine it was probably a lot like the animals inside of the Little Mermaid, where they were liking character
Yes,
expressiveness.
Very much so.
Like
I don't know if I even know anything about it. When you say live action,
So you know lions
Yeah.
in the zoo?
right?
That.
Yeah, imagine if they. So the funny thing is that we do say live action.
Yeah.
It's not. They are 3D. Like they are definitely 3D, but it is as realistic. It's so hyper realistic. It may as well be filmed on a savannah type shit.
Yeah.
So you have this like lion that you could go to a zoo and see and like look at, but it is also it's like Aslan from Narnia, right?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah.
It's
Aslan.
Aslan.
But even Aslan in those Narnia movies looked not
A little more
as real as these do, just because of the technology advanced
at the time, right?
Ride me.
Ride me. But yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I remember Jungle Book was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that one wasn't bad. That
Jungle
one
Book
wasn't
was not bad, and it was like the start of this whole fucking thing.
Didn't see it.
Beauty and the Beast
I heard
had
it was
its
pretty
problems, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Not
heard.
terrible. The CGI on Beast,
Could have been better.
but it wasn't bad.
Okay. Trying to think. Like
I'm trying to think when it started going downhill. What movie was it?
I think that's the problem is that there's not really like a downhill.
There was
point.
never an
It's just
uphill.
yeah. It's
That's a
like,
good point.
It's just kind of all been all over the place. So like you had like the high with Jungle Book. You had a weird scramble that was everything that came after that, with like a couple like high peaks that kind of came out of it. And that's the weird big. There's no like decline to Disney live action. It's all just been kind of mid at best.
Mid. That's probably the best way to put it. The mid to lesser mid.
Yeah. So we'll see what the future of this shit holds, because there's going to be a lot more of these AI generated posters.
We should start making a show like that.
Honestly, it would be kind of fun.
Make some goddamn money.
I don't think you can really make money off of it, though.
Oh, you can't? Well, we should not do that.
Trash.
I don't think there's really money to be made here. Like, but
if you fool enough people,
I was gonna say Can you get clicks from that stuff? Because you probably get clicks from that stuff.
Can you? Sure, but the thing is like getting clicks. It really depends on the place you get it. Like you have to be like hosting it on your own website, and at that point you have to keep up the hoax. And the second that hoax is found out, all your credibility goes out the fucking window.
Well, you just make a new website.
You just make a new website and you hope to start over again. And that's honestly, that hits a point of being more effort than it's actually worth.
Be a fake leaks website.
Right. Oh, man.
The Queen Bitch Splash. How mad would you be?
Very.
How? Okay.
Sorry. Go.
If you found out that these these like AI poster bullshits
were actually real.
Not were real, but were leaked or put out there by companies to gauge interest.
You know?
See, the thing is, I would still be angry. Mostly because there's no great reason as to why they would need to do that.
Right. That's smart, actually.
Like, quite literally, if Warner Bros. Got on X, formerly known as Twitter, and literally just had their marketing guy put out a tweet that said, how do you guys feel about a new Polar Express movie? Yay, nay? Like, literally just put a poll on Twitter. That's all you have to do. Putting out an AI-generated image that coming off the SAG-AF like strike would be so distasteful. Putting out an AI-generated image to trick people into thinking it's real and then trying to gauge interest off of that just seems like such an unnecessary step.
I feel like you're probably going to get more of the extremes with that too, because like on that post, like on the actual social media post, you had people where it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! I can't wait to open this up on Christmas." And then you had people like, "What the fuck is this? This is obviously fake. They're never going to do this. They don't need to do this. Nobody wants this. I hate this. I'm going to tell everybody I know that this is terrible." You know, like there's like
it's polarizing in a way I can't imagine any PR person for Warner Bros. Would want to even like deal with. Like nobody on that PR team would ever look at that and go, "Yeah, you know that's how you harbor goodwill. You trick people into thinking shit's real." I think
you're underestimating how people are advertising things nowadays.
Give me an example.
I mean, I sat in the talk at GDC where they talked about how they make fake ads for fake games to gauge interest in which games people want to play.
See, now that's game industry though.
But they use that to get data on clicks to know which games to make, right? Why wouldn't they duplicate something like that for movies?
Because they're moral, upstanding people.
Because the film industry is snobbish as fuck.
Because Hollywood is the highest quality.
I don't know. It's
because this shit starts happening to you before you know what's happening. The movement behind and like what the marketing is doing. I'm saying it happens, and then you're like, oh, so.
But
that's what
now here's my question: the talk you were talking about with the games that don't exist, are these games in the like? Are we talking like remake games? Are we talking? Because like when I say like specifically with Polar Express and Prince of Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. You don't need to drum up interest for those. I feel like those are IPs that stand so firmly on their own merit that if you're gonna do it, like if DreamWorks or Warner Bros is gonna do one of these, they're just gonna fucking do it because it's gonna make bank no matter what.
Yeah,
I can see using AI and generating fake ads for something you're not certain has a market on it, but stuff like this, especially around Christmas, at least in the case of the Christmas Express, which is still can't get over that name. Like I don't see a good reason as to why you would need to fake ad it to get interest in it. I can see that with video games, and I can see that with like smaller projects or smaller named IP and shit. But this one, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, my answer still holds the same, that I would still be angry if I found out that a game that, even if I like the game, and if I found out that the original ad for it was just straight up a fake. And obviously we're talking like some like AAA level, like let's say Nintendo decides, and before anybody gets some fucking comments talking about Nintendo's not AAA, yeah, I know. But the point being is that the IPs of Nintendo stand so firmly on their own merit that if Nintendo was to ever put out a fake ad to drum up interest in a fucking Mario game or like a fucking Zelda, I would be more upset of them doing that, because they're, like I said before, there's just no great reason to do that with certain IPs. I can understand more if some indie, let's say the first, when the Hades was first coming out, that the first Hades trailer that ever got put out was a fake trailer that was just about drumming up interest. I can understand that. That I can understand more than anything else, because that's an indie company. Well, I guess it's Supergiant, not really a...
Supergiant is indie.
I know that they are indie, but like they also do have some merit. But like Hades would be a brand new IP. Like it's a brand new IP from an indie company. Like I can see them doing something like that. But DreamWorks and Warner Bros. Or Nintendo or Xbox or Sony, like nah. Like don't try to trick me into shit. Because you have the marketing team and the money to know when shit's gonna pan out. But that's how I see it.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess even if this wasn't created by those companies, if it's created by some random schmuck, at least it's going to get into the ears of those companies. Probably, I'm sure Warner Bros. Has probably seen
right.
It, and I'm sure
I would base my $1 billion decisions off actually memes.
Yeah.
Counterpoint: Elon Musk.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
What did you say about Nintendo's not AAA?
A lot of people don't consider Nintendo AAA
Because they're S. S tier.
They are S tier.
What does that mean? Well, what is a AAA studio?
So a lot of people argue that Nintendo's not AAA because the money that they funnel into their games is not on the same level as like what is considered AAA companies. So like because they're not, Nintendo doesn't generally make like Bethesda games are like fucking $600 million like blockbusters.
Their games are so much better than Nintendo's.
Yeah, because they have so much more money, right? But like
on what grounds? I guess
it's a false one, shaky, unfoundational one. Like
that's right.
The point being is that people argue that Nintendo's. It's one of those things where the people that argue that Nintendo's not a AAA, it's not worth arguing them about it. So most people are like, sure, whatever, I don't care. Nintendo still makes most Nintendo like mainstay and IPs are generally better, longer lasting, and generally more enjoyable than almost everything that comes out of AAA.
Like anything Nintendo are pretty much household.
It's not like Nintendo is still probably one of the most profitable video game companies on the face of the fucking planet, but you know, they don't push all their games to be fucking 4K 60 or 4K 120.
Wait, so are the people arguing this because they want Nintendo to be their special unique baby?
No, people are arguing this because they want to shit on people that still play Nintendos, because how do you play those baby games?
Oh,
It's
so
one of
they're
those
dumbasses.
things. The people that like Nintendo don't give a fuck if Nintendo is considered AAA or not. The people that want to argue whether or not Nintendo's AAA are dumbasses.
We're Nintendo lovers here. Okay?
I gets down with some Nintendo on a fucking regular basis.
I have a sexual relationship with Nintendo.
Yes.
My dad.
That's recontextualize some stuff.
Yeah, wait a minute.
A sexual relationship with.
But yeah,
my dad.
like there's
Who
people
works at Nintendo?
But yeah, God, we've been going a while. So we got a few more minutes left. Mr. Fluff, let's end off with you like we normally do. Let's just continue that train a rolling.
It's okay, I'll finish quick.
Damn right, baby.
Is what he's.
What was it? Do I still have what's it called up? No, I don't.
Ken me that go.
Spell it.
KenMeiKen MEI.co. The cross-site manga tracker.
What? Does it go to dashboard?
Dashboard, then discovery.
Okay. Hey, they actually kept you logged in this time. And then it was. Do you still want to talk about My Daughter's the Final Boss?
My Daughter is the Final Boss. Believes the.
There it is. Oh. That wasn't and is exactly what I expected that cover to look like. Lee Sung-joon could only watch as his daughter, the witch Lee Seola, turned into the wicked final boss who destroyed the world and brought upon its death. Though never a good dad as he loses consciousness.
That's not its death.
Brought upon his death.
Sorry, I tried to say his death. And brought upon his death. Though never a good dad, as he loses consciousness, Seo-jun gets a new quest, change the future. Upon awakening, he sees a 5-year-old Seola standing before him. Now Seo-jun must raise Seola to avoid the misfortunes that originally turned her wicked and become the caring father she never had. The price of failure? Only the end of the world.
Interesting.
All right, Fluff, take it away.
This one is extremely good. So, with this one is I forget what you would a regressor archetype, and usually with a lot of these different kind of stories, especially with like manhwas, they all fit within one of a number of different kind of archetypes, right? And what makes them good is typically what they explore within that structure. And one of my favorite things to have be explored is a paternal or maternal relationship. So this relationship about this guy coming into his own in order to be a father, in order to be a husband, and in order to prevent sort of like the misfortunes that fall this little girl. I also I have a very soft spot for protect the lowly stories. It makes me want to raise 1 billion daughters to be strong, independent women. But yeah, then I remember that they cost an average of $17,000 a year, and
That's it?
per kid, $17,000.
I thought it was more.
That's about it.
I'm sure we got a lot of listeners who are like, what? Raise the number or lower that number. Like, I don't know.
Well, the poverty line's 12,000. So yeah. Anyways, this guy. I mean, in the original story, he's kind of a fucking deadbeat, right? His ex shows up and is like, "This is your kid," and he's like, "What?" Kind of kicks him out, and shit goes poorly because of it. And it's about him taking responsibility and, stepping into his role as a father. And it's very wholesome. Mm-hmm. It's almost maybe cry at times.
Is the art style kind of like that?
Yeah, the art style is very similar to what you see on the title there. It's not one of those ones where you're like, it's like photorealistic on the cover and then it's not at all. And the art is very good. Mm-hmm. It's high quality. Nice. So if that's what you read for, you're in for a treat. Overall, I really enjoy the story, and I think it's worth a read.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
How many chapters is it so far?
100. I think they just came out with their 100th chapter today, actually.
Oh, nice.
We're recording. So,
Okay.
I think they're probably getting towards the end of their second season, if I remember correctly, based on how things are going at the moment.
How long is a chapter?
A chapter? 2-3 minutes.
Really?
Up to 5, depending on
How fast you're reading.
how fast you're
probably.
reading, how long it is. I mean, some are shorter than others,
Fair enough.
but
Whether you're taking the time to soak in that beautiful art and wordplay.
Right. Well,
when Solo Leveling was still coming out, I would read each chapter that came out from each of the different translators. But yeah,
well, heck yeah.
Yeah, I like the premise of this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. Raising your killer. But like,
well, it's less
wholesome.
killer at the end of the at the end of the, he basically, it's less that she kills him, more that he sacrifices himself to protect her. I think that's a very inaccurate portrayal of what happens, and that's kind of the reason why, like, karmically, he's sent back in time to get a second chance at being a dad, is because he makes the ultimate, even though he wasn't up for his daughter until that point, at the very end, he makes the ultimate sacrifice for her.
You didn't even know her like that, you're saying?
Yeah, like, because, I mean, he was largely absent, and I think she held a lot of resentment. Because she goes through some rough shit. As you know, if you read the thing, like, she gets kidnapped and all kinds of bad things.
So it's kind of like a redemption type of thing for him, kind of. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
Be a better dad.
Also, there's the joys of being a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go out for milk this time. Stay with her and raise her and go out to get milk together.
Not six either.
It is also kind of fun to watch this man juggle, you know, what is essentially a bunch of TNT in the shape of a child. Actually, TNT is too stable. It's nitroglycerin.
Oof. A bunch of uranium-235 in the palm of his hand.
Does he have, like, some way of knowing, like, whoops, the future's broken now, or is it...
Father, I will never forgive you.
Sort of.
Second
I think
that's uttered,
there
it's
are
over.
5 misfortunes that he has to prevent from happening to her. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. One is her getting kidnapped by the magic tower. One is her mom dying. And then there are 3 other ones.
So if any of those happen, she's...
Yeah, it's like, I think...
It's kind of like a death save or whatever. It's like, oh, if you get too many of them, you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you prevent a number of them, you're safe somewhat.
Yeah. But each of those are such, like, clear, tragic things that if any of them were to happen, I would stop reading.
That's fair.
Because it's like, yeah. Or at least if maybe, like, for instance, let's say she got kidnapped by the Mage Tower, or she gets kidnapped by the Mage Tower and he gets her, like, back from them, I would accept that. But, like, if her mom dies, I'll stop reading. Because the whole thing is centered around, like, their family unit. So if you broke that, then there's just no point in reading. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Love it.
So I watched a movie, and y'all know the movie because I sent y'all a clip, the clip of it with the fucking extreme music with the penguins running through the city.
Yeah.
It's been like one of my favorite TikTok/Instagram videos lately. But I ended up watching the movie that came from called Penguin Highway. And
I thought you said peeing on the highway.
Yeah. It becomes relevant later in this film. No, Penguin Highway. And it's an anime movie. Anime. It was, full disclosure, I was a little high when I watched it. At least when it started.
No.
Explain a little.
I know, right? I was such a good kid. It was very interesting because everyone in the comments on like anytime I would see that clip anywhere, everybody in the comments like, "Oh man, Penguin Highway, such a great movie, such a good movie, such a good movie, such a good movie." And I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but what I watched, it was really bad voice acting at times. Like very. The only way I can really describe it is it was very stiff in a lot of places.
And what did you watch it in?
So I watched it on Tubi.
Tubi.
And I watched I watched it in English. It was only available in English on Tubi.
Okay.
So that's why I want to try to track it down and find it in Japanese and watch it that way. So it like basically as a plot, the movie is about this kid. He's a fourth grader. He's super smart, or at least he's like very studious. Think young Sheldon, like Sheldon from
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
And then the show Young Sheldon. Like think of that kid as an anime.
Yeah.
So kid super smart, likes to study very much. He likes doing research. There is, and the way they kind of introduce the characters and the way they like interconnect these characters is a little weird because they like introduce them, but there's not like a lot going on with them other than the plot. So the other main character, the one y'all know from the clip, the lady who's controlling the penguins, she's just a lady. You never find out her name. He never refers to her by a name. He only refers to her in English as the lady. In Japanese, that was the weird bit. There was also subtitles playing, and they were English subtitles, but based off the Japanese sub.
Okay.
Which was actually kind of interesting.
I always love doing that, actually.
Yeah. So in English, he calls her the lady. In the subs, he refers to her as Onisan. So it just directly translates Onisan just straight up to English. So he's calling her Big Sis. You find out immediately he's obsessed with her tits. and the movie's like such a great. It's another example in highly intelligent people can only be autistic. Because the way this kid talks, it's very much that young Sheldon-esque of, I say everything in a very monotone kind of way, as if I'm kind of studying the world around me at all times. And I can always say, and even though I'm a kid and there's times where I act like a kid, I do things that is kind of like I'm so smart for my own good that it's almost like jarring that I still do things as a kid. Such as being so smart that you have detailed notes on this lady's tits. Because you don't understand, because he doesn't understand why his mom also has breasts. This lady has breasts. My mom also has breasts. But this lady's breasts make me feel a certain kind of way that my mom's don't.
How are they so voluptuous?
Okay, that is funny.
It is actually really funny. It's very funny because it's absolutely the kind of thing of like a kid too smart for his own good is still naive to the rest of the world. Like he doesn't understand this why. Like so, it's very clear he has a crush on this lady.
Yeah,
and he doesn't know how to. He doesn't really know what that's supposed to be, and therefore is doing research as to what's going on. It's kind of a funny subplot. But anyway, the film literally begins with, as he's walking to school, he looks into a field, and there's just a bunch of penguins there. Just penguins in the field, for whatever reason. Then it cuts away to him going to school. Throughout the film, you find out that, and I'm going to say spoilers for this movie, it is such a weird one that I think y'all are still going to want to watch it with me in Japanese. I'm going to get y'all to watch it with me in Japanese because someone has to experience this with me. I got to know I'm not going crazy. Spoiler alert, but you find out pretty quickly that the penguins come from the lady. She literally conjures the penguins just on a whim. What? And the confusing bit about how the story tells it is it's like she doesn't know that she can conjure the penguins, but then she also knows she can conjure the penguins. Like she's always known she can conjure the penguins because she's always done it. Because the only way the penguins come into, like, they manifest is she literally takes different objects around the city and just turns them into the penguins.
So she's a witch
Of some sort.
So she needs to be Burn.
Yes.
What?
Except she can't because her powers are based off this object called the ocean. Yes.
You sound
The
like you're
second,
high.
the second that came out of my mouth, I realized how fucking stupid that sounded, but we'll get there.
And you said you were high.
I was high when this is why I gotta rewatch it. When I promise y'all, I'm gonna force y'all to sit down and watch this with me. Y'all are gonna sit down and watch this with me, and y'all are gonna understand immediately. So after you find out like she's conjuring the penguins, the question is, why can she? She doesn't understand why she's able to do this, and so she tells him to solve her mystery, and if he does, she'll take him to what she remembers as her beachside home. So where she grew up, like a seaside town where she grew up. They try to go, and at one point he gets like close to solving it, and with that going on, there's another plot with him going on where a school friend of his, there's a secret going on because though they're trying to find out. God, I'm telling this in such a bad order, but they try to investigate where the penguin. They're trying. Him and a friend of his is trying to investigate the penguins. So they follow them to where they're going. They find out they go to this one forest that's supposed to have like a curse on it, and no one's supposed to go into. At that point, he gets chased away by some bullies, and that's when he winds up with the woman again. And that's when you find out that she conjures the penguins through objects. They go back to the forest, this time with another classmate, a little girl that's just as smart as he is. And she takes them to the clearing in the forest because find out the curse of the forest is a rumor she made up just to keep people away from it. Because when you go in there, you find out that in the middle of this forest is this gigantic area with a gigantic floating sphere of just water. And just in the middle of it. And she's also very research oriented, just like he is. So they set up this whole like little scientific operation where they're running tests on it. They're trying to like they're actually running tests. It's crazy. Like they're both wicked smart. Like they're crazy intelligent. And so they're running tests on the ocean.
Smart.
Say that again?
Wicked smart.
Smart.
I heard that's hot.
Being smart can be sexy, kids.
Not with 4-year-olds.
But not with the kids.
Not with 4-year-olds.
Not with kids.
Being smart is
smart is
but
sexy.
I am not attempting to sexualize a child.
Thank you. So they're running a test on this, and eventually the bullies find out because they follow them there. These are also like 4th grade bullies, but they're the size of like 8th graders. It's weird. Japanese bullies, as they always go. They find out about it. The lady also has followed them to it, and she finds out about the ocean that she apparently didn't know about. It becomes very clear that like she's having like weird memory issues, like she's not being able to remember what's going on and why. So they get in there, and the main kid, his name is Aoyama, by the way. He really wants to protect this lady. He wants to make sure that no one finds out about her secret, that she's creating the penguins. Because now the whole town is like, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on with these penguins in the middle of town?
Witch.
Right? So he doesn't want her to get found out because he's worried that like scientists will take her away to do experiments on her. They're supposed to keep a secret about and they call the giant sphere of water the ocean. They literally call. That's why I said her powers come from the ocean. He puts 2 and 2 together, of like something about the ocean is connected to her powers and her generating the penguins. Turns out she can also, so in the light she generates penguins. If she uses that same power in like either an overcast day or in the dark and there's like not direct sunlight, she'll create Jabberwockies. In the movie they're represented as like these weird like lizard, catfish, seal creatures, like sea lion creatures. It's really weird. And those will get created, and they're very destructive, they're very violent, and they like hunt down the penguins that she creates to eat them.
Oh shit.
It's a little ecosystem.
A whole little weird ecosystem. Well, in that process, and eventually the little research girl, her dad works for the university as a research scientist, and eventually they find out about the place because the bully who got there, who like kind of crashed the place, also end up catching one of the Jabberwockies as like a small baby thing, and is like telling everybody he has it. That leads into him telling them about the secret clearing and all that.
Of course.
And so now all of that's going on. For some reason, the ocean starts to grow and is like encompassing everything. And this is like, at this point in the movie, I'm actually sober. And I'm more confused about what's going on. Because there's no great reason as to why anything in the movie is happening anymore. But things are happening and a climax is coming to like we're coming to a climax. And I'm like, why is any of this happening now? But shit's happening. And the only thing they know is the dad and the research team got swallowed up. And they have to go save them from the ocean. Because things will get pulled into the ocean, the giant orb, and they'll just disappear. And so all you know is that the dad and his research team gets dragged into the sphere. And now Aoyama and the lady are like, we got to go save the guy. And they're trying to evacuate the city because there's a fucking disaster going on. And that's where we get the clip of her with the army of penguins. So that happens, and she uses she's generating a fuck ton of penguins and has like full control over all of them. They do her bidding, more or less. And she uses them to basically race to the ocean, get into the ocean, get in, save the guys, bring them back. While they're in the ocean, she understands that they have to come back and get rid of the ocean, and by getting rid of the ocean, she'll have to leave too. They still don't explain what her deal is, why she controls penguins, what the ocean is, and why they have to go into the ocean and why it has to go away. It's never explained where it came from. It's never explained. None of this shit is ever explained. And it's another reason I have to watch it again, because I'm like, there's no way they don't just not explain any of this.
It might be... Oh, fuck. It might be based off of like Japanese folklore.
Very possible. I think so. Like, it's so weird because visually it's very good. Like, it's decent. It's not like the most highest quality thing I've seen come out, but it's not like Studio Ghibli level, but it's still
like watching Paprika where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, probably. Like, it's I
was really excited to watch Paprika, and then I watched it and I was like, why didn't I watch that?
I have to see it. But it's visually it's pretty okay. Voice acting wise, it was very, everyone talks in a very, we're reading a script kind of, well, not everybody. The lady actually sounds pretty well done, but she's also a pretty famous voice actor. After I looked it up. Aoyama, I feel like he talks the way he did because he's supposed to be kind of autistic coded. His little sister sounds like actual trash because she's supposed to be like a 4-year-old. It sounds like a 12-year-old trying to do a 4-year-old very terribly.
Yeah.
The bully sounds like he's just a dude reading a script. A lot of the people start to sound like they're just people reading the script. And so that's what makes me really want to watch it in Japanese. Like, I think a lot of it's going to get edited out. I didn't mean to talk about this for 20 straight minutes because I do plan on talking about it again next week after I've had a chance to watch it. It's such a weird movie that I don't know how I feel about it. That I need y'all to sit down and watch it with me.
Well,
you were high the first time you watched it.
I was high for the first half of the movie.
Well, we're gonna get high and watch it again.
I'm down to do that.
It sounds like
another time.
It sounds like a wacky ass movie to begin with.
Like,
so the fact if you were high for the first half,
right?
I can imagine the second half.
See, the funny thing is, as I'm thinking about it, it's not
weird.
like it presented itself as a wacky movie. It's not a wacky presentation. But like the things that are going on is just really weird and bizarre. And the movie doesn't expound on much of what's really going on to the point that it just left me with nothing but questions.
I would like to watch this movie. I'm curious, but I need to go back.
I know you do. So we're gonna wrap it up right there. That's Penguin Highway. There will be more to say about that next week when I have a chance to rewatch it again. But yeah, that is week 3 down. Glad we're still doing it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Love you. Stay gay.
Love you.
We'll bring you some more kingly goodness next week.
Gross.
Bye. So now while Fluff is realizing he should be responding to the people he's met on Hinge, and I continue to sit on like the fucking 12 girls I have not responded to. Or even like reached out to.
Or
that's a whole different can of worms though.
Aren't you supposed